going on, folks? I wanted to come back on for a quick, extra short podcast. I wanted to go over some comments on the Tribune that I was just reading. I didn't want to make a whole podcast about it, so I just wanted to go over this specifically because they're interesting. They also go along with what I was talking about just a little bit ago. So I just want to go over that. Didn't want to make a whole podcast about it, but this is interesting. I was reading some of these comments. I should have mentioned them earlier in the podcast, but they're from the Tribune. They're on the article with Dr. Quesada saying that he refused to meet with the mayor in regards to a safety assessment, or he refused to provide a safety analysis to the mayor when requested. However, I'm hearing that that's not true. But according to Tribune, again, they're saying that this is true. So a lot of people have been going crazy and saying a bunch of stuff. And so I wanted to read some of the comments, right? So someone writes, Hezi, thank you for exposing the blatant disregard for our children's safety. Quesadilla should be fired. Quesadilla, that's what they say, right? Then someone writes, Hezi, if you are anywhere near close to accurate on this one, Quesada should be fired this week. What is wrong with the study? What is wrong with reviewing where our buildings and personnel stand in relation to protecting our children's and teachers' lives? So Hezi responds, he says, I'm 100% accurate on this one, but he's not, and previous ones as well. It should not go unnoticed that the mayor approached Dr. Quesada as was and is appropriate. The next logical step is for the mayor to address the Yonkers Board of Education Board of Trustees. A review is more than pertinent. It is vital to do the utmost one can do to protect the lives of the students' population, the teaching, and ancillary staff. It is pathetic that Dr. Quesada is impotent in more ways than one and is overdue to be dismissed. This must be his epitaph. I'm sorry. Let us not forget the deceitful graduation statistics that he has claimed via communications officer Geraldine Fierstein. Now, is he saying that the statistics are incorrect? You know, 80%, 87. Was the mayor also wrong? Has he? The mayor is also touting the success rate of the graduation. Somebody puts agree, please to get started. The trustees should really step up here, and I hope the mayor pushes for it. Then someone puts Spano won't do a thing because Quesada is Hispanic, and Spano is scared of being called a racist. Well, he said that about Jamal Bowman. Remember that he should be arrested. He said something and he got a lot of backlash for it, although he wasn't implying anything racial. He was talking about something else, but there were press releases put out and stuff like that. So I don't know if he's that scared of it. But I wanted to move up here. Someone says security, if any, at Yonkers Public School is a joke. I don't know. I don't think so. But again, is there anyone out there that agrees with that? Does anyone out there believe that the security at the Yonkers Public Schools needs to improve? Anyone? I don't think so, but if anyone out there believes so, I'd definitely like to hear about it. They say doors propped open, windows wide open, entrance gates, if any, are wide open. Just drive by, you see for yourself. Parents are just too busy and stupid, right, to ask. And then so someone puts nice insult, 25,000 parents by calling us all stupid. And then they put then they wonder why the construction workers digging the streets have police protections, but not the kids in YPS. I don't know. Does anyone believe that? That the schools have a security problem? Does anyone feel that their kids are not safe, that need to improve? I don't know. They go on to talk about police, in overtime. Dumb Q tried to put all security of the schools on the entire staff of Yonkers in an AM email. What an incompetent fool you are, Q. Dumber than dog poo. That's obviously somebody just trying to make him look bad, and then has he asked for a copy of it. Obviously, if he had received it, he would have posted that right away. So then someone puts, we are sitting ducks at Yonkers Middle High School. 12 security cameras, which half don't work, in the largest school in Yonkers with over 2,000 students. Dodson, with less than half the students, has 72 cameras. Yonkers Middle High School has 4 safety officers up until 2 weeks ago, with 20 days of school left, added a new one. YMHS is out of control. Business as usual, the Yonkers way. Now that I have heard that, from some people that the schools are kind of have been a bit crazy. But again, we're coming back from a pandemic. It's a big adjustments. But I don't know. It's safety. Head of safety officer at YMA is never in the building. Q rejected the plan because it would show his inadequateness of the schools. Why does he care? I doubt that he's just going to completely say no and not care about the safety. I highly doubt that. Again, I think this is all a hit piece by a certain individual, group of individuals. I happen to, be finding out that this is not all the way accurate. Security, if any, RIP as a joke. I read that already. I don't know. And then, but here's a good point that someone makes, right? And someone's actually watching my show. Where's loudmouth? This is what it says. Where's loudmouth Tasha Diaz when you need her? She's handing out big raises to her chief of staff, Brenton, and was wastefully spending taxpayer dollars on cookies and shirts, etc. I mentioned spending taxpayer dollars, $2,000 on chocolate bars. And she is the chair of the education committee, as someone mentions here. And Tasha's head of the education committee. Where's her press release on the outrage not to have full security assessment of YPS? What a farce. Obviously, only a figurehead, name only, no substance or clue. So that's true. I mean, if this is true, right, why isn't Tasha Diaz, the head of education committee, the chair of the education committee, saying anything about it or mentioning it? I mean, she is also part of that team. She's part of the Nader Sayed Zahi Jeris Hezi team, right? But she's not. Maybe it's because it's not true. Tasha Freeman is in her office watching new 75-inch television set, and then somebody puts "Let's get it popping." Somebody obviously watches the show, right? And that's true. I mean, she is the head of the education committee. No one ever gets on her, right? They don't say anything on what she should be doing. Yonkers refuses to provide a safety officer at prom. Cheap bastards. Head of security should resign with Q. Is that true? Again, security and the state of the Yonkers public schools are a complete mess from Mayor Spano on down. No one stays after 8th grade. Yonkers is failed city and will always be a dump. Right? Well, I mean, 77% of the student body are Black and Hispanic. Hispanic make up 61% of the school's student body population. Black make up 16. The rest is, whites and other races and ethnicities. 75% of the student body, again, as I was mentioning earlier, are living at or below the poverty line, come from homes that are, impoverished homes. Is there a real desire to really do something? And I hear that a lot of, not a lot. We do have certain schools that are really good, I guess, that people want to try to get their kids in. It's like, you got to get them into this. Do you go to, you go to Charo or you go to Pulaski, right? You hear that, right? Those are like and it's like almost like a status thing. If your kid goes to one of those schools, I think some parents like to brag about that their kids go there. They're like, yeah, and they go with this person. They go there, and so-and-so's sons go there. But some other, there are a lot of officials also that have kids who attend private schools, right? Like Stepanak. I own a prep. Right? They're not going to put their kids into the Yonkers public schools, especially if they could afford to pay for a private school. So is there a big concern when you have 77% of the population, student body population, Black and Hispanic? Is there a real desire? But again, you have a Black woman chairing the head of the education committee. You have a Black woman who is the city council president. And you have two other, minority women, another Black and a Latina as city council members. So it's 4. So what's going on? Mr. Mayor, if you are serious about the security review, go to the Yonkers Board of Ed trustees instead of making a hit job on Dr. Q. Really, don't appreciate the political motives here. Seems to me it's malicious intent to discredit. All I know is that taxpayers expect you, Mr. Mayor, to keep our schools and streets safely. No bouncing the ball around. But that's funny how they allow on this thing. And notice this Spanos. If you guys are watching the Spano family, that they allow attacks on you guys, on the Spano family, but nothing ever on, Nader Sage. Never on Nader Sage. Never. Think about that. Is it because you get in the office? Is that quid pro quo? Right? Great job, Mayor. Hold his feet to the fire in this one. Why does the mayor need permission to check security? He should just do it. This is all not true, folks. Folks, this is all just made up. They want to make Quesada look bad. And it's not the Spanos. It's the Zahi Jeris team, Nader Sage team. Security in the state of Yonkers Public School, complete mess from Mayor Spano. I read that. Quesada is a political operative for himself and in Yonkers. It's never been about the children. Hey, all the Spanos children leave the district after 8th grade. Fact check yourself or ask the double talking Mayor Spano. Now the Mayor Spanos getting throw jazz. So remember that, Spanos. This is native say Zahi Jarrett's controlled media source. I note that what has the almighty Q done to enrich the school system? I've heard he is building a solid political base within the Latino community by handing out jobs to unqualified individuals and promise for support. The students pay the price. I want to see the stats of before Quesada versus after Quesada. YPS before Quesada had a much stronger foundation. I think he is unqualified. A public study needs to be taken. This isn't a joke. I know it sounds like a joke. He's building a solid political base within the Latino community by handing out jobs to unqualified individuals. Well, who are these unqualified individuals? Are they Latino? I mean, I don't know. Are they? Is that really happening? Because I don't think he, has the ultimate power and all the jobs, right? And I mean, we've spoken about these, jobs and favors and stuff like that. But is it Dr. Quesada? Take all the take home cars and trucks away. Now he's talking about the cars and stuff that the city council, they use, right? Yes, strip city council of all vehicles and mileage. We, the taxpayers, can't afford it. And I think it's very true. I think at this point, right, we should consider maybe saying, hey, you guys shouldn't, have these cars anymore, right? Or you should just use your car and get paid for the mileage. Because with the price of gas, I mean, they don't have old cars. Not like they're driving. I mean, some of the police cars are in worse condition than the city council members' cars are in. You have all police officers risking their lives with beat up cars. I get it. Maybe they have to, I guess, ram cars or whatever at times, right? But, if police lacking equipment, yet city council members have a part-time job and get, the best of the best. I mean, these are nice looking vehicles. They're new vehicles. So yeah, I think it should. Gas prices are high. Can the city afford it? Can the taxpayers afford it? Right? Not the city. They ain't paying for it. It's the taxpayers. We are the city. Can we afford it? Right? Give us a car. I mean, it's a part-time job. And many times they're doing a lot of the stuff from Zoom. They're on the internet. They're not even at City Hall. So I think that maybe that should be considered, trimming the fat in times of like this. Take all the take-home cars and trucks away now, including Yonkers public school cars going to New Jersey, Rockland, and Putnam counties. If they should all drive to Yonkers in their private vehicles, pick up the city-owned vehicles, and return home in their private vehicles. Also, Dr. Q's friend, the maintenance assistant supervisor, has an express pass, so he drives over the bridge on Yonkers taxpayer dime while living in Rockland next to his friend, the fake Dr. Q. I don't know who that guy is, but I've heard this before about council members driving cars, right? And why do they get to kick it home, right? They should come to your job. I mean, what other jobs really do they give you a car, even if it's a full-time job? Right? I've had jobs where maybe I had to drive my car and it was related to my job, but they would give me reimbursement for my mileage and gas, right? Or they may have provided a car, but it was already there. So not taking it home. Police don't get to some police can take home their cars, but that's crazy. I just don't see it's a part-time job. No more free rides for the city council or the rest of Yonkers admins, not on the drowning taxpayer dime. Mayor Spano, do something responsible for the taxpayer and make all these rides terminated. They're free rides. They're calling them Uber drivers now, right? Some council members pimp out rides like an Uber, drop kids off at school, shopping, Mickey drive-through. They don't care who sees them. Nothing will happen anyway. Let me tell you something. I was behind one of you council members' cars the other day, and you guys did something dangerous on the road. I'm not going to say who it was, but there was 4 people in the car, and you guys looked like you were having a party. It looked like it was a group of high school kids in the car. I'll be honest with you. And I wish I could have recorded it, because I want to show this. And they're driving in the far left lane right there, or going over, City Hall. It's on the left, and then you have the court thing, the detective, whatever, and you have that upper hand. You go up over, and you have the thing. They were going up, right? And then someone in the middle lane, they must have known that person because they literally kind of swerve in and like trying to get that person's attention, and that person then finally sees them, and then they slowing down and and then we're like behind them, traffic. I'm like, and they're like talking to each other across cars. In a Yonkers vehicle with the plate says City of Yonkers. You guys saw me, right? I dipped right in front of you. And you probably heard my car. That was dangerous. That was a bad move. What are you guys doing? I mean, it's like 4 of you in that car. It's a white car, white city car. And that's what they're doing. That's what the taxpayers are paying for. Causing almost accidents. I'm behind. You guys are just slowing down for absolutely no reason, just so you can talk to some guy in a pickup truck. Bunch of high school kids in a car. Can we get the mileage and gas consumption used by the city council? It's crazy how I have to pay $5 a gallon while the useless council is driving city vehicles. That's going to make people upset, especially with these prices. You're paying for gas, and they get free gas and free cars, except for Moranti. Anthony Moranti, I believe, drives his own car. Somebody says Quesada must go. It's crazy how she demands a la carte for the commissioner. I don't see her lasting in public. And they're talking about Tasha Diaz. Hezi, a story needs to be written about the wild councilwoman who spends tax dollars promoting herself. She hands out $2,500 of taxpayer money to Yonkers Pride, probably because her $91,000 secretary, and she puts her campaign logo on the flyer. Tasha either needs to go back to high school or get a job. A real disaster for the Democrat majority. I hope they remove her soon. And they thought about it. However, they reconsidered because they thought it may create more problems. Right? They didn't know what kind of problems they would have. Right? There should be no passenger city cars in case of an accident. The taxpayer is liable. Well, let me tell you, there was 4 people. And they were practically hanging out the cars. Their hands were out the car. Yeah. I just thought it was, it shows that, they obviously have the mentality that I could do whatever I want. We could do whatever we want. Nothing's going to happen. There's no consequences, right? We have that luxury and that freedom here in the city. So I just thought it was stupid. It was just a stupid move. Even me now, I'm Freddy Vazquez. I do this podcast. I don't think everybody knows me, but I watch what I do. Like, I don't want nobody saying, Freddy, you do, what I mean? I'm not a councilman. So you guys really should be watching what you're doing. What you guys were doing, you shouldn't have done, not in a city vehicle, because it could have been an accident. And there were 4 people, and that would have been a problem, because I would have been right there to get it all. You would have been screwed. You would have been screwed. I would have pulled over right with you. And then I would have been a witness. Anyone and everyone can watch the city council meetings and ascertain if they wish to re-elect her. At the end of the day, if you have issues with her conduct, you have an opportunity to not re-elect her to another term as city council person. I need not postulate. I'm sorry about her. She is known. She is a known entity, and the public will make their decision when she runs for office. Kindly, Hezi. Of course, he's defending her. Of course, he has to, because Zahi and Nader, you guys are, same team. That's home team, home girl, right? And so you got to defend the Hezi. So he defends her, talks crap about the Caters, talks crap about Dr. Quesada, talks crap about the mayor, but doesn't talk crap about Nader Sage, defends Tasha Diaz. You see, he tries to act like he's really, unbiased by allowing the Tasha Diaz stuff, because it's obvious, right? That's obvious, right? But he doesn't allow Nader Sage stuff. Hezi, we on to your game, man. You got that office. That's quid quo pro. Quid quo pro. It's crazy how she demands a la carte from commissioners. I don't see her lasting in public office. Yeah, that was very, how do I say this? Stupid of you to do in a live meeting. I mean, yeah, you're going to just basically say, I need special treatment. And if you're not giving me special treatment, it must be because you don't like women. Well, when it comes to you, majority leader, I don't know if he doesn't like women. He doesn't like you. You make it hard to, that's a hard one there. I'm just saying. The title majority leader got to her head. Lorraine, see, it ain't me. Lorraine, please straighten out your niece. The Latino community wants her out. Now, I would agree with that. Not that I'm the whole Latino community, but I would agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. Gas guzzling Diaz. Man, they just all on you, Tasha. It's not just me. You see, it's not just me. I just say what the people say or think. Gas guzzling Diaz needs to stop fleecing taxpayers. Pay raises to your staff. Handing out taxpayer dollars to your donors must stop. She gave her staff a raise. She did her entire office on the taxpayer dime. Meanwhile, you got people homeless over there in Getty Square. You got a guy that's living on Warburn Avenue in Ashburn. He lives there. I mean, he's been there so long that he cannot be evicted from the sidewalk at this point. And she spends taxpayer money on chocolates. She gave the guy at least a chocolate. Lakeisha is all about the paycheck. If she cared about Yonkers, should have never voted for Mad Dog Tasha. And, according to what Majority Leader said, it was Lakeisha Collins, Bellamy, the city council president, that encouraged her to throw her hat in the ring. I don't know if that's exactly what she said. She said something else. But that's why she did it, because she said, you should do it. And she was like, me? And then the city council president was like, yeah, why not you? And then she was like, yeah, why not me? And so then she decided to throw her hat in the ring, and she won. Wow. If I could only be that lucky when I played the lotto, right? Right? She wasn't even going to go for it. Nobody was even thinking about her. But the magical, inspirational words of the city council president just did something. It inspired her. But it just didn't inspire her. It impacted the universe and the order of things here in our planet. And she became majority leader. But we don't know why, right? We all know why. I mean, if your IQ is above 89, 87, I think you know why. Her true colors were on display at last week's rules meeting. Shame on Council President Collins, who allows this behavior to continue. I mean, I guess that's a good point. Why didn't the city council president say anything? Or did she? Did she reprimand her back, behind the scenes? But they weren't even together, right? They were all on Zoom. So maybe the next day, did she Zoom her up and say, hey, you can't be doing things like that? Is that her job? I mean, is anyone trying to reel her in besides me? Just kidding. I believe a couple of council members need a psychiatric evaluation. I'm glad I'm not the only one being called mentally unstable. Yonkers needs competent and honest elected officials. The city of Yonkers has become an extension of the Bronx Zoo. We need a new slate of candidates to clean up the fourth floor in City Hall. And that is something I'm hearing a lot from people. They want all new candidates. At this point, you have to. You have to. You don't know who's been bought, right? And so you have to come out and vote. Today was the primaries. Hopefully, a lot of you voted and voted right. Right? But a lot of people saying we need new people. We need someone that's not connected. We need people that are not from the establishment or from the past, but that's who you see looking to enter the race. Everyone that's looking to enter, every name that's been mentioned, right? Every name is someone that has held position before political office before, is holding some political office now. It's part of the get along gang. You know what I'm saying? It's part of the get along gang. It's part of the, the crew, the motley crew of what's known as Yonkers politics and stuff like that. So, I mean, who is that person? Who are these people that are going to come and clean and make a clean slate? Who's that? You got jokes tonight. Yeah, sometimes it's so easy. I don't have to. It's just right there. It's right there, and I have to just but. Who are we going to have? Who are we going to, who are these people that are going to come out? And they say it takes $500,000 to run an election for mayor. You got to spend at least maybe like $100,000 for a city council race. Who's got money like that? Who's able to raise money like that? Surprisingly, the majority leader did, right? So that person says, if you don't like her, then we need to vote her out. Well, how do we trust these elections? What if people already voted her out? What if people never voted her in? I'm just saying. Let's think about the fact that the rumors of term eliminations are very loud. Yes, they are. How is it that possible to know how the council would vote? Corruption is real, and if it happens, we need an investigation. Who knows? How is it that possible to know how is it possible to know how the council, how is it, who knows? You know? We assume. I don't know if we know. We're assuming. Maybe some people know. If those people know, let me know. I want to know. Email me, right? But we're assuming that they're going to eliminate terms. The mayor may run again, you know. But if let's say that happens, right? And this is the bag of chips to choose from. I mean, who is if you have to, right? Well, you're not going to vote. If you don't vote, then you don't vote. Okay, but if you have to pick one of the individuals that have been named, who would be? I mean, Shelley Mayer, she's saying she's not going to run. She's saying she's too old. I don't know if I believe that, because she's very young. I mean, she only turned 32 last week. So I don't understand what she's saying. But she's saying that she's old. I don't know. But let's take her out. Let's just take her out. So besides that, who? Might as well just leave the mayor in. I'm just saying. You want to bring Chuck Lesnick in, Wilson Terrero, Corazon Pineda, Tasha Diaz. Who else? John Rubo. Who else? Forget who else. Maybe Shanae might surprise us. She might just say, I wasn't sure if I was going to run before, but, I was just thinking about it. And I said, I mean, why not? I told myself, why not? Why not you? Yeah, of course me. Why not me? So I threw my head in the ring. She don't need anyone to tell her. She's going to tell herself, right? Who else? I mean, who? Wilson Kimball. I'm hearing Wilson. Tom Meyer. Who are you going to vote for if this is the choices? Maybe a Republican if you're a Democrat. Adam Rodriguez. Calling Adam Rodriguez. Hola. ¿Cómo está? Somos hombres de buena vista. Adam Rodriguez is the big highlight of the Republicans. They really want him to run. I think he may run. Yeah. He's a Cuban. Grew up on Buena Vista Avenue like me. I was Puerto Rican. The only difference is he, was kept indoors. I was allowed to roam wild. but I haven't met the guy, but I hear he's a good guy. But that's who the Republicans want. He's a Hispanic, and so if that's the bags, the people you have from the Democrats, and then you have Adam Rodriguez, this Republican, who would you vote for then? Would it be the Republican if you're a Democrat? Because you don't want to see the same individuals. Think about that. We need someone new with no skin in the game. Clean house, rebuild YPS, and give special ed the money it needs. Yeah. But who's that? They scared him away the last time when they had their phony election with DiGiorgio, who did not campaign. Well, maybe he's not scared anymore. Maybe he's, more motivated this time. Maybe he's ready. Maybe this is the time, right? Cubans are, I've known Cubans to be Republicans, Florida, a lot of Cubans, Republicans. But again, I don't, and not that I'm pushing to a Republican, it's not what I'm saying, but we need to not, I guess, especially if we're looking for someone that's completely new, right? Clean slate. I mean, the Democrats are all same old, same old. So if you get a guy that's completely new and it's Republican, will you then decide to make that vote because it's what you've been looking for ultimately? It's not the party you're affiliated with, but it's what you're looking for, right? And I'm not saying that he's the one. I've heard his name being thrown around or mentioned, and I'm saying if it happens, would you then do that because you don't want to vote for the same? So you have to think about that. That's a good play for the Republicans. It's a good play. They know what they're doing. I don't need to tell them. I'm nobody. In Yonkers, we must do the homework. Excuse me. In Yonkers, we must do the homework and vote for the person. Absolutely. And that's what I say. Forget party. It doesn't matter. I only switched parties because, they told me it was the thing to do. Because I can be in the vote in the primaries, right? I went to vote in primaries. I was independent, right? Because I'm just me. I rolled dolo. But so that's why I did that. But it doesn't necessarily mean, that's all the way how I will vote. I just want to make sure that we are heading in the right direction as a city for all of us, right? For the majority of us. It can't be for all of us. It's just impossible. That's perfection. And we can't have that. So I would like to know that. Wonder if you guys would vote for a Republican, because it would be someone that's completely different. New. Clean slate. Hear that, Democrats? Mass exodus of the Democratic Party. People they're gonna start going back to. You're gonna see Rubo go back to Republican. David Tubiolo, I better not see you going back to the Republicans, man. Or you have a Republican, was just your dad? I forget. I think there's some other people, but yeah. So the Republicans, they're thinking they're gonna do well this year because of everything that's going on, nationwide. Biden is screwing things up, and not because he's a Democrat, because he's Biden. Right? That's really why. People voted for a guy who passed the crime bill. Should have thought about that. Think about that. I mean, the guy compared, blacks to animals living in a jungle. Biden was the one that actually coined the term, the predatory, what is it? When they say Bill Clinton called blacks, that was actually came from Biden. Biden said it first. It was Biden and Clinton together. They got that passed. And what did that do? Right? That locked black people up primarily, and it hurt generations and generations of black families. And there's studies. You can go read that study. But yet blacks loved Biden. They're going to vote for Biden because Trump is a racist. But Trump never put a bunch of black people in jail. Biden did. Trump never changed the laws to make, the crimes that blacks and Hispanics were committing more of a serious crime and get more time than that of the white counterparts. That was Biden. I don't know what to tell you guys. Fredito, with all your research, do you know who the Democratic Party lawyer is? Which Democratic Party? I mean, like Yonkers or the party in Washington? What do you mean, the DNC? Which one? The Democrats are dinos anyway. Look at the way they vote. If we had a true Democratic mayor, he would not have vetoed the affordable housing. Yeah, that's true. I mean, he would have been super progressive, right? Because that's a true Democrat. I don't know if that's a true Democrat these days. I mean, I like to fancy myself as a Democratic conservative, right? Because I don't want to go too progressive. Sometimes I'll be honest, guys, I love you, but some of you guys are too far left for me. And not that I'm with all the way right either, because those guys are a little whacked out. You know what I mean? I try to stay in the middle with the sensible people. Some people's too left. Too left. I mean, they don't even know what they're talking about sometimes. They're just too left. Like, you don't even know. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there is a need for affordable housing. Who is, that need here in the city of Yonkers primarily had that need the highest, blacks and Hispanics, right? Since they are predominantly living in poverty or below the poverty line, right? So economically, they are not doing as well as their white counterparts or even Asian counterparts or even, Indian Americans, right? So affordable housing, it largely, is affecting blacks and Hispanics. So there's not enough. That's a demographic that's affected mostly. And so who was it that killed it? A black woman. Go figure. Go figure. A Democrat who lives in affordable housing. Because 20% of nothing is nothing, right? Because 20% of 20% of 20% of 20% is 20%. She confused the shit out of me. I mean, that day I believed her. I did, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I got there late already. I was all disheveled to begin with. And then something crazy shit happens. Everybody, oh, and I walked with her and I saw like this, I did see genuine sadness in her face, but now I think that was, remorse for she knew what she had done in killing the housing ordinance, right? That day. And so she blamed it on something. She says, no, I didn't kill the housing ordinance. I didn't. No. Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. So no. So she didn't kill the housing ordinance. Freddy, you don't know what to talk about. Damn. She got me looking stupid. So why would you do that as a black woman when that's affecting, that's going to help black people, a lot, and Hispanics. I mean, you want to be Hispanic, you change your last name to Diaz, So I mean, come on, help us out. So, so we have to think about that. So, we have to stop thinking all these groups and we're part of, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm a black person, I'm a white person, I'm a Hispanic person. Ultimately, we got to just be people that live in Yonkers, that want to see some change, that are tired of the same old, that are getting screwed over after day. Nothing's changing. Nothing. You got to go out there and hustle. I mean, that's what I learned. I'll be honest. I ain't waiting for none of these elected officials to do something for me. I haven't waited for any of them for never. I don't think I've ever. I don't wait for nobody. I go get it myself. I can show you how to do it from what I've learned. It's up to you to do it though, right? Because I'm not waiting for them to pass some kind of something for me. I don't even want them to. I don't want nothing. I just want you to get out of my way. Let me do what I do, right? And allow me to have this, just opportunities. Don't take them away. Help present opportunities for people, so we could take advantage of them because I'm more than willing. I'm always ready to take advantage of an opportunity. That's just who I am, but I can understand that there's very little, if any, real opportunities and resources for people who are impoverished here in the city of Yonkers to escape this poverty. They have no clue how to do it. It's difficult. It's extremely difficult, right? And here's a fact. It's a lot harder. But this is a fact. It's a lot harder for a white person who's impoverished, right? I should say, yeah, more than likely, I should say a white person who's poor, right, is gonna not do better than a black person who's in middle class, right? Because it's hard to get out of poverty. So just because they're white doesn't mean that they're gonna do better than a black person who's not impoverished or who's in middle class, right? That person more than likely is going to move up to upper middle class or, and so on. They have more opportunities than a white person's poor because it doesn't matter what color you are. If you're impoverished, it's difficult to get out of poverty. It's not easy. It's a lot of reasons why people remain impoverished. Lack of education, lack of opportunities, resources. I mean, if you ain't got no money, you can't make money. Right now, you got to get a job, but you get a paycheck, and then by the time you pay your bills, you have $0 left, or just enough, buy a couple of cigarettes in a Red Bull. Same, So how do you make money to be able to put away money? So when I started, I knew that when I started making money to where my checks were pretty big. I'm like, okay, this is a big check. Instead of just blowing it or just putting it and doing nothing with it, because that's another thing. You have to invest your money. You can't just leave it in the bank. The bank ain't gonna do nothing, right? The money's devaluing. You got to go put that in something that's gonna make you money. Use that money. And so I learned. I took that money and said, you know what? I got this money. Let me get some real estate. And that's what I started doing. I started buying real estate because now I finally had, the money. The me, you get a $60,000 check. I get, whatever in commission. So. But not many people are getting checks like that, right? That's a yearly salary for a lot of people, and it gets broken down, right? So it's hard to just pile up a good amount of money, put that into a business, and do your thing. So, it's not everybody has that. And people are scared to, let go of what they know as a safety net, their job, to go out. So, but, that's why from young, when people are young, they need to be taught these things so they can make a decision at a certain point, instead of getting themselves into debt. By the time they're 25, 30, they got so much debt that they don't even know what to do with themselves, So, but these are things that are not spoken about or told to a lot of people, people, especially in poor communities, so, and which is a lot of Black and Hispanics. So that's why we're not developers, right? That's why we're not doing that. That's why we're not the ones out there developing these buildings. So you got Jewish. That's why we're not buying up all the real estate. It's the Israelis, Jewish, Chinese, you got some Italians buying, but the Israelis and the Chinese got unlocked. So, how do we, and then, a lot of Indians. I remember living on Riverdale. There were a lot of Indian families, right? When we were younger, their kids, we would, hang out with their kids, right? But they weren't allowed to do too much, right? But they were cool. They love basketball. So they were good too. But a lot of them became doctors and work in the medical field. And we were still in the hood. You know what I mean? Like you got the scrubs on coming to visit their parents who still live in the apartment. And, we're older and, and they just chill in the hood. The Hispanic and the blacks they used to hang out with just in the hood. And these guys are in med school. You know what I mean? Pre-med. That's what and that used to stick in my mind. Like, yo, that's who I want to be. That's what I want. I used to see the guys in the airports with the briefcase on the cell phone. Like, what did he do? I used to wonder. I want to be like him. And now I hate it. I hate my phone. That's why I keep it on. I hate it. I get too many calls. So, be careful what you wish for. It says true. But the kids need to see that. And so these elected officials ain't putting that for them in there. And that's my issue with them. Like, you're not really doing nothing for the kids. All this money you give to these organizations, what are they doing? What are they doing? How much money are you going to give to the Y already? Right? And people don't understand that if you address, poverty, you address a lot of other issues just as a result. It's almost as an incidental of addressing poverty. You address crime, you address teen pregnancy and abortion. Right? I'm just saying. It's not left or right. It's about the residents, not the developers. The Spanos make money off the developers, so that's why it was vetoed. Also, my letter to Moranti is still not answered. Sustainable Westchester was and is illegal. Nick Spano made a ton of money of it. Must be nice to be legalized criminal. Shaking my head. They call it white collar crime. Let me tell you, this is nothing new. It goes back to families like the Kennedys. They all, a lot of them did bootlegging with the Kennedys and other families, the Bushes, and all that stuff, and they make their money and then they legalize. So it's just that's how. But but black, at least I used to think to myself, when my dad was, when I was younger, my dad was was addicted to drugs. He was on the using side of it, right? And I used to be like, why didn't he just I see these drug dealers driving nice cars, and I'd be like, why wasn't he the drug dealer, right? Like, I mean, that's not but if you got to pick one of the two, right? You'd be like, why wasn't he the drug dealer driving a nice car, right? So, you got to get it. You got to get it how you get it. And I'm not defending Spanish. I'm talking about in general because I'm talking about like financial stuff, like, things like that. But yeah, it was vetoed absolutely for the developers because they support her. See, that's what I'm saying. So the people in her district who are predominantly Black and Hispanic are not going to her events and writing $500 checks, even $200 checks, or the $1,000 checks that they ask for, because they don't have it. So then they don't get represented. You see the effects of poverty. It does so much, right? You're poor, so more than likely you have a high chance of going to jail. It's just fact. Ended up dead at an early age, teen pregnancy, teen abortion, right? Being an alcoholic or drug addiction, or maybe selling drugs, but not going to Tasha Diaz's event and donating so she can, veto a housing bill so you can, as a developer, not have to put as many affordable housing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So, and that's how they kind of want it, right? They that's probably almost all by design that way. So yeah, of course, absolutely. She did that for the developers because that's who funds her. That's who funds her. That's point blank period what it is. That's who funds her. The information is hidden, and if you don't have the educational resource to find it, you'll end up completely lost. Thank you for sharing the information you have, Freddy. It truly helps. No, you're welcome. The information, I don't know if the information is hidden. I just think that people need to be motivated to look it up, right? And unfortunately, I'm going to say this, and I don't want to offend anyone, but there's a joke, and I actually heard this from Black people. If you want to hide something from a Black person, where do you put it? And it says in a book. That's a joke. And I didn't hear this from white people. I heard this from Black people, right? So basically, it's saying that Black people don't read; they stay away from books. So if you want to hide something from them, put it in a book. And that's sad. That's like the stereotype that I used to hate as a kid coming up, and that Puerto Ricans were lazy. And that's maybe why I do so much. People are like, Freddy, you do so much. Slow down. I know. I get anxiety if I try to take a nap in the day. I could be doing something, right? But I just, I grew up poor. And I grew up with the stereotype of Puerto Rican lazy. So now I have this. I can't be poor. I can't be lazy. Can't be poor. But that's what motivates me. And I just was unfortunate to have opportunities and resources that are not normally presented to people like me. Not. And all I want to do is that for people, because I know how much that is needed. I know how much that someone like me, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but I'm saying someone like me, and meaning that I want to, not that I'm I have any success, because there's a lot of Hispanics that are successful, but someone like me that has that success and wants to go back passionately, has a passion to go back and share it, right, and teach others what I've learned from what people taught me and what's helped me be a better person, have opportunities, produce opportunities for myself and my kids. And I want to do that. And so when they blackball me and when they don't want to work with me, because it wasn't always basement politics, I attempted to be nice, right? I thought I was naive. I said, yeah, if I go and email them and that's not, I used to feel stupid, right? Because they give you that BS, response to like you some dummy, right? Like, and I'm like, come on, man, I talk to people that's way more important than you. Again, not to be just saying, you know what I mean? And then you talking like, like sound like an idiot, like, yeah, oh, well, great. You got oh, that's cool. We're gonna come by. Oh, yeah, we're gonna stop by. What we They don't do nothing. They don't do nothing. Right. So then, I do basement politics. Oh no, they Fredd's saying this. What is Freddie saying? Oh, we got hey. But then they try to blackball you on the low, right? So in the front, in your face, hey, but and behind your back, you get blackballed. And I don't understand why, because what I'm trying to do is help the kids, help the community, help reduce crime among the youth at least, help improve the success for as much as I can, even if it's one person, right? So if they really truly want to make a difference, they're not doing what I think they should be doing. They're fooling me. They're fooling me if they truly want to make a difference. Absolutely fooling me. And again, it's all about themselves. Like Carolyn said, veto that ordinance, or I should say, kill the ordinance, because they ultimately fund her campaign fund. And then she gets to continue to be an elected official. She gets to be the majority leader, the queen of I don't know what, where she goes and does her whole office over 75. Who the hell you think you is? The president of the country? Who she thinks she is, man? And I get it. You ain't never been in that experience before. I get it, but sheesh, you got to learn a little bit more. There are programs all over Yonkers that people do not know about, programs that can help people. Pathways can help people 18 and over get an EDP, which is easier than a GED, and it's a real high school diploma. There are programs for senior homeowners through family services. But there should be much more programs with all the money around. Yeah, but I mean, but you have so many different programs. I guess there's so many different programs that people don't even know about them. And obviously, if they're being impactful, then people would know about them. Right? If they were really making a difference, people would know about them. And it's also, yeah, there's the programs, but the details, right? And actually how it works, really, what is it doing, right? Like for example, they got these, kids take OSHA classes, right? To get OSHA license or whatever. But then what? Then what? They get the OSHA license and what? Is there a company that's ready to take them on and, give them some kind of employment or further training? That's what I'm saying. So how are these programs being implemented? Right? Again, it's all about results. I like to see results. If you're not producing results, then you wouldn't be getting any money from me. I'm sorry. Well, how many would you do in the last 12 months? I give you a lot of money. What you doing? So that's what I'm saying. So, and again, you got to start sooner than what you're talking about. I think also, we got to start them when they're adolescents, engaging them in things that they may find interesting, that they may take a real serious interest in, and make it a career, because there's nothing better than getting paid to do what you like doing and enjoy doing. It's not work, right? Rather than having to say, okay, you got to go back to school now, get an EDP. It's easier than a GED, right? And then you're not taking serious at that point in the real world. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I mean, look, people try to say about certain elected officials who they say have GEDs or whatever, right? Right? They put them down, but then you want to sell it to kids that's good. That's a great program, but you're making fun of these guys who got it. So you know what I mean? I'm not speaking about you, Cam. I'm just saying in general. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I just see it all. I just watch it all. I'm like, that don't make sense. So really, like I'm saying, like let's get these kids right involved in positive activities. Let's expose them to real world stuff, right? Real world stuff. Engaging them in how to, entrepreneurship, how to start a business, doing mock stuff with them, right? Talking to them about, various different career paths, realistic, not being an entertainer, not being a basketball player or baseball player, right? And I get it, that's cool, but that's like hitting a lotto, right? Our goal is to get kids on a path to success so they could be successful, not sell dreams to them. You know what I'm saying? Like my son, I was hoping that, I'm good at baseball. I played in high school and stuff, and I was very good third base. And I was like, can't wait to have a son, and I'm gonna be out there with him at his games. My son is not athletic at all. And my daughter likes to sing. I don't think she's gonna be a singer. And I keep it real with her. I say, honey, oh, she's no talent. I'm just saying, I don't want her to be, and my son, he doesn't throw very well, and he's just that, but he's very smart, intelligent in other areas. So I encourage that, right? So we have to identify these kids' strengths, right? And then how can we take this strength and turn that into a future for them, right? Something that they could be proud of. Like, yo, this is my talent, and this is my strength, right? So it's just it's sad to see a lot of kids, that a lot of people, guys, men, that I grew up with, or just people that I don't even know, but just I see them walking down the street and they're just in bad shape. What could have been of that person, right? So many people that just wasted potential, and sometimes I feel guilty myself, and I'm like, why, was I able to be, more fortunate, more blessed, or whatever you want to call it, than that person, and we from the same place, you know. And a lot of it is because they just didn't have some of the opportunities. And I'm not saying that there are people that have to be responsible for themselves. I get that, I do, but you understand we have to. There's a culture we're working against, right? A culture of irresponsibility, of laziness. There is. I'm sorry. I love you, people. I love it, but I'm just keeping it honest. Not everyone. I'm just saying. And it's easier to just not do nothing and not try. It's hard to really, so people just take the easy way out. We got to push kids, we got to get them young. So, we're not having to go backwards. And so I just think that there is things that we could do. It necessarily doesn't take a lot of money. It just that, they have to want to do it. That has to be like their focus, their goal. Like that's what we want. That's what we want to do. We want to see these kids succeed, right? And again, like I said, it impacts a lot of other things: crime, gun violence, gang activity, teen pregnancy, abortion, right? It just affects a lot. So that's where we need to start, you know. I want them to realize if they had a horrible school experience, they can still get a high school diploma. No, but I wasn't talking about you. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that, that people say that, and they say they make fun of it, whatever, and in the real world, just be honest, honestly speaking, in the real world, you get judged, people look at you, you gotta, come correct. It's very competitive. It's only going to get more competitive. We live in a world where economists say that by 2050, half the population won't have a job because there aren't going to be a job for them. And I don't get why we working with AI and all this technology that are starting to take over people's jobs when we need the jobs. But yeah, we encourage this technology to continue to grow, to only make us extinct, right? We're not going to even. So no, I'm just saying that, it's just very tough. It's getting very competitive out there, right? So that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, let's get kids back on, track, guys, adults who didn't go to high school, get a GED, but then let's start earlier. Let's get them from day one. because that will make things easier. You know what I'm saying? And let's get them on a path to success, a place where kids can come to, you know, on a regular basis, because so many just don't have nowhere to go, really. They don't want to go home. They don't want to be at home. A lot of kids are like, there's a lot going on at home. They don't want to be there, right? So they end up going out and staying out in the street, and that's what trouble is, you know? So that's what I'm saying, you know? If we had a leader that truly wanted to enrich the city, residents, seniors, children, there is money to make those changes. People hope, yeah, and give people hope. Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you, and that's what I'm saying. That's, you know, because they talk a good game, they say all this stuff, and Freddie's critical. Freddie just gets on me. Freddie just, you know, Freddie's making, no, you know, being critical about the statue, and I don't know anything about it, and I need to be educated, or the, you know, elected officials. I'm always on top of them. I'm following them into stores or whatever. It's all taking focus off what I'm saying, that you're not doing anything real. I don't care how much food you give out. You could put your tent up there with your name and logo on there and give out all the, you know, expired food you want, but that's not going to make a difference. That's not. You're not doing anything. That's so great. And as an elected official, and if you're in a certain position where you have a certain power, right, or certain abilities, like, do more than the organizations that are actually the ones giving out that food, because that's not even from the elected officials. Okay, those organizations are already there. Okay, they don't have to be there, but they're just attaching themselves for votes and doing nothing. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Right. So again, you really want to do something, you know, like, reach out to people that are seriously passionate, that want to do things, that have ideas, right? That have a mission, a point and go, and a vision, right? To help get people out of poverty. That should be our number one goal, right? That as humans, humanity, people should be able to eat, have shelter, be able to get themselves an education, have dignity, support themselves, not be dependent on free expired food, right? That's what I'm saying. That should be the number one goal, and that will affect so many other problems if we start there, right? We have to start with poverty. That affects a lot. That's all I'm saying. And they don't seem to get that. I don't know why. They think naming a month in honor of a certain group, doing a mural, painting on the street, you know what I'm saying, and parades and festivals and stuff like that, doesn't get anything done. That's not real. That's nothing. I'm just saying. We could do that too, but that's nothing. You know what I mean? That doesn't change nothing. It's not what I want. I'm just saying. Life skills, home economics, civics, and business and finance. Absolutely. Teach kids things, right? Freddie, yes, universal education and housing. Teach things, kids. Well, I don't want to give people universal. I'm not for the government just giving people everything. I'm for people, you know, producing it somehow, right, for themselves. You know, that's what I'm for. And that's why people again think I'm a Republican, right? And that's what they're toying with, the idea of universal basic income, but you're not incentivizing people to then want to not only just work, forget about that, right? Because people say, oh, you know, they're going to be lazy. That's not even lazy, but be creative. We need people to be creative, right? We want people to be incentivized to be creative and come up with great ideas, right? And in order for them to do that, they have to be in a space where they're happy, where they're content with life. You know, they feel fulfilled. Not they're home all day eating chips, watching, you know, Netflix, and they got universal income. You know, they're trying to, like, just, you know, destroy the greatness of humans. I'm telling you, folks, I don't know. It's to me, there's some kind of just trying to take away, you know, we no longer like the minds we used to hear about, we read about. What is this? I will look into it. All right. So yeah. So anyway, folks, let me get at it. I didn't even mean to do this went into an hour. I just kept talking. Actually, I meant to just kind of go over those comments, and I saw some people on, and I just kind of kept talking. But that's all I'm saying, right? So elected officials, you guys talk a good game, but produce something real. Produce some real results, right? Make a change, make a difference, because the numbers ain't changing. Or the numbers aren't changing. Excuse my Grammar. Oh my. The numbers aren't changing. They're still the same. Blacks and Hispanics remain impoverished. Yeah, you could have a, city council president who is a black woman and a majority leader who's a black woman and 2 other council members who are of the black and Hispanic, race or ethnicity, whatever. But what does that do? Is that just fluff? Is that for show? Let's make some real changes. Real sustainable change, real impactful change. And that's all I'm saying, right? So I agree with a lot of the stuff that, people said here about the cars and the gas. I think that's a little excessive. They get a lot, especially if they're not creating any real change here, right? They're not doing anything for the people who voted for them. Yet we pay for their vehicles and their gas on top of that. And now it's not okay to me. It's not okay to me. And we need to have people in there who are qualified. I agree with that. I mean, look, I know there's not a required degree or anything for an elected official, but I mean, we should be able to use our best judgment there and, be able to tell if a person is qualified. I mean, off jump, right away, you should be able to notice their ability to communicate effectively, right, and professionally. I'm just saying. So, and then other things, we have to look at what they've done, who they are, what they've accomplished. They haven't done nothing before, and they just pop up in there. They're probably not going to do nothing in the office either, right? I'm just saying. So we have to do a good job of really vetting individuals before we vote for them. There should be a job description for every position a taxpayer pays for. There is none. I looked into it. I'm sure you did, Carolyn. Carolyn does a lot of research. You like me, we do a lot of research, and a lot of people are doing research here in the city of Yonkers, and we'll see what's going to happen, right, folks? The important elections, these elections are important too, but the big ones are going to be next year, and that's what we need to focus on. Again, folks, I'm Freddy Vazquez. Thank you for joining me on this late edition that wasn't quick at all, and I hope that maybe some people could hear, understand what I'm saying and hear my message, and maybe even some of the elected officials can hear what I'm saying and say, you know what, maybe he has a point there, because ain't a damn thing change. Ain't a damn thing change for the blacks and Hispanics. Nothing. I'm just saying. Hey, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Freddy wins.
I am Freddy Vazquez. This is Basic Politics Unfiltered. Thank you for joining me again. This wasn't supposed to be a full episode, but it ended up being that way. But folks, I appreciate the support. I really do. And I appreciate that there are people out there that are looking for change and that are now supporting this and working to create change. Let's keep it going, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. Enjoy the rest of your night. It's 11:30. I'm up out of here. Peace out.
Freddy wins. Freddy wins.